Some tissue?
Yes, I got you. My housekeeper, she's just finishing vacuuming up in this room. She'll meet you down there to clean your toilet for you, and then my maintenance man's gonna come fix the loose part.
Okay, appreciate it. Okay, toilet tissue. No, I don't really. Is it flushable?
Yes.
I can see it.
That's it.
No, that's not it. You suggested that I don't necessarily have to have it. 2-ply white bath tissue. Okay.
Like I said,
And these are clean, right?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
He's gonna leave, and then I'm gonna leave. Thank you.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Next time, just let me know that you behind me if you come and doing something for me, okay? If not, then... If you're doing something that has something to do with what I'm, that is requested because you're not doing it. This is something that you are supposed to do. But you did say something. But my name is Jasmine Renee Davis.
Alright, you're all set.
No, so did you fix the toilet? Because I didn't have you to do anything for me, for myself, right? So that's okay. So okay.
Yeah, she's good.
Okay. I sure have to use the bathroom. My goodness. Whew. This is not a joke. Like, this is serious. I have to come and fix that other part. I have to do the bathroom. Who is it? Who are you?
Hola.
Okay, so what is it that you want? What is it that you're coming for? Oh my goodness. Okay. So what is it? Okay. The toilet, even all of the whole, when you lift up that and all that. What is it that you're coming here to do?
Me dijeron que quería que le limpiara tu baño.
Okay, sure.
Sí.
And then also no, that's I'm not back. What I'm saying is make sure when you lift up the toilet at the top where the tank is, clean that as well, okay? Because there's some kind of white something on there. So I would really appreciate it. And then bring different towels to clean towels.
No.
I can show you if
Okay.
okay, because this problem like lifting up like that.
Ah, ok, no, nosotros no levantamos eso.
That's what she said, that you were supposed to come here and do that.
Nosotros no levantamos esa tapa.
Yeah, she said that you're supposed to, so somebody need to clean that. So, okay, so maybe the maintenance man can come and do it, but it needs to be clean. I
No
need to use the
problem.
bathroom though. So, hold on, if you're not doing that, can you wait? I need to use the toilet or whatever. If you're not gonna clean that part, then what are you?
Mami, excuse me.
Jasmine.
Nosotros limpiamos así.
If you, I can lift it up. And
Así, pero esto nosotros no lo levantamos. Ah, no.
it's a reason for that. I don't know what that is.
Así
under there.
limpiamos el clean, así. Así, limpiamos esto. Pero esto nosotros nunca lo levantamos. Pero no problema. ¿Ok?
Make sure you know what you have to do for yourself.
Excuse me, dear. Your name Cheryl? I was sure I say I believe your husband down here looking for you. He in the lobby.
Ok, mami. Si quieres revisa.
So what chemicals are that you use on there?
Revisa.
It's a lot of chemicals.
Espera, que yo no comprendo inglés. Sorry.
So what chemicals are you using to clean that? And also, what chemicals are you using to clean that you use to clean the bathroom? Okay, let me see. You use Okay, and then what's the other one there?
Este es fabuloso.
Well, I'll leave this door open or whatever, and then I'll go. I'm gonna leave the door open and let some of the chemical come out or whatever. Can you bring some more towels, because I use that towel to clean down the toilet or whatever too. So can you bring more towels or a towel? Because I'm gonna have to clean it again because of what the chemicals you have put on there.
Okay,
With
Mom.
water. I'm Jasmine. This chemicals are awfully strong up in here. And I'm really disappointed because I have my stuff up in here, so I'm gonna have to. I may have a printout validating the room.
I did that. That's not a crap. There you are, my dear. 213. It's gonna be down this hallway upstairs for you, hon. Elevator's the second door right there.
Those chemicals are strong in that room.
Yeah, she just told me that she's gonna leave, try to leave the window or the door open.
The window, can you open the window? Yes.
Hey, young lady. I don't know where you're coming from, but I like your outfit.
I got myself. I'll let it in. But you know yourself. Oh, the window opens. Awesome.
Alrighty, and then when you're ready to close it, just twist this up and it'll lock for you, okay, hon? And
Okay.
then there's one up there too. You gotta push that one down to lock, okay?
Okay.
All right.
So I'll leave this open for a while and then I'll come back in here. Is there another clean bathroom that I can use until that time, or you know what? Don't worry about it. I'll hold it because I know I asked she could bring some more towels But I just really.
Okay, unfortunately, I can't give any more towels. What's
Okay,
the
because I
one?
use that towel.
Oh, the one. Okay, I
To
can get
clean
you one
the
of those.
toilet.
Yeah.
That's why I said I'm gonna have to. She came. I'm gonna have to clean that chemical off of there as well.
Okay.
But so that's why I said. But if you can't give me any more towels, I
I can
figure
definitely
it
get you
out.
one of those ones because I have plenty of those. But the other
Okay.
ones I cannot.
Oh no. So just I will use another one of those up there and in that one as well.
Okay.
Okay, sure. I'm gonna come out this door.
Wisconsin's top choice for commercial and residential roofing is Weatherford Experience. For a limited time, take an extra $1,000 off your next system proposal. Plus, receive a $200 quick cut gas card. Start your project today at weatherfordexperience.com.
Everybody sells to refire greenhouses has a story. It was really an amazing thing, simple process.
And if you look at it, you get a better offer.
And if you want to see my reviews,
Ma'am, this doesn't have the correct. It says 234. That's why I asked for an updated one. It's right on there.
I forgot to switch it in the computer.
No,
Okay.
I'm just saying. No, I'm not trying to accuse you. Oh my. I'm Jasmine and myself. Okay. Appreciate it. Towel right there. my goodness. Ooh. Okay, already. So I have to use the bathroom right away. Right now, immediately.
It's your dry skin. Every day we use Ceramides IV to steal in moisture. CeraVe delivers 3 essential ceramides to help restore my...
I'm not sure you understand this whole plan.
So you
Spirit wants...
Everything's hidden. 40.
because you're unique.
There's never sealed.
I know.
Heart museum.
Your girlfriend. Integrated.
When it goes up,
Reality.
Revenge. This guy, Michael Cohen's about Michael Cohen. He said earlier, I think in today's testimony from what we saw on the screen, he was hoping to monetize his role as the president's attorney. I mean,
To continue in this courtroom, the lack of...
On whether Donald Trump was
an old run.
Pure growth portfolio. Now, it probably also is a fact that a lot of the crazy stuff you were just talking about that's really starting to move today, it's not in the S&P 500. So that would otherwise be in pure growth. It's just not quite registering here. But both, in general, healthy-looking charts with growth further off the high. Another relationship that probably isn't a relationship in anything except that these areas got washed out would be utilities, which now suddenly everybody's been focused on, and the Chinese market. Both deeply unloved until very recently, especially right there. If you look at the last month, and then of course even early part of this year, when you have the bottom in the Chinese market, that's being said by Hang Seng in Hong Kong, also roaring here. Now there's nothing that should make these stocks look similar in terms of fundamentals. It really is just about the fact that we had a market that was just over-leveraged to the highest momentum names going into the quarter, and then you have some upending of that trade, and what that's meant is money has flowed into the abandoned, orphaned, underloved areas. Utilities and Chinese stocks both had massive outflows for like a year straight before this little pickup, John.
Mike, we've been in this range for about a full quarter now, 3 months since the beginning of February. How much in all of this turning around have the underlying dynamics changed?
You know, we've definitely had the old leadership break stride, and so you're sort of able to rely on the old tech stuff. And you've had, aside from just sort of a recycling of some of the sector rotation that we've had in there, I do think you've seen a slight less cyclical bent to this leadership. So it is a stutter step in terms of confidence in how the economy is going to hold up and just the pace of it. At the same time, we're trying to absorb this rise in yields on the other side. So in general, earnings have come through well, and that's really the underpinning here. So if I look at valuations at the all-time highs in late March, valuations now actually slightly cheaper on a PE basis just because those earnings have come through and time has passed.
Yeah, it's like from February up into April and then down and then back up again. We'll see where it goes from here. Mike, thanks. Well, OpenAI hosting its spring update today, and reports say Apple might be in talks to put ChatGPT on iPhones, all ahead of Google I/O. That starts tomorrow. We're going to ask a tech portfolio manager for his take on which mega-cap names are winning the AI race. And Intel shares still deep in the red for the year, but the stock outperforming today on reports of a potential $11 billion deal. That story and much more when Overtime comes right back.
Ameritrade is now part of Schwab, bringing you an elevated experience tailor-made for trader minds. Go deeper with Thinkorswim, our award-winning trading platforms. Unlock support from the Schwab Trade Desk, our team of passionate traders who live and breathe trading. And sharpen your skills with immersive online education, crafted just for traders. Also, you can trade brilliantly. Sandals Jamaica sale is now on with rates from $1.99 per person per night. Visit sandals.com or call 1-800-SANDALS.
At PGIM, finding opportunity in fixed income today helps secure tomorrow. Our time-tested fixed income suite, backed by over 145 years of risk experience, helps investors meet their goals. PGIM Investments, shaping tomorrow today.
Take care of my finances?
I have plenty of time for that.
I didn't have plenty of time.
Facet's Financial Wellness Quiz is a quick and easy first step to get your finances in order. Go to Facet.com to take our free financial wellness quiz today.
Business is good. But what if you still can't stay ahead of your bills? Biz2 Credit helps you stay on top of your expenses and give you the cushion you need to succeed. Small business is the ultimate marathon. Winners need the endurance and support to go the distance. You have what it takes. Biz2 Credit helps you get the funding you need. Biz2 Credit. Funding what's next.
I'm tired of overpaying for a crochet. Harry's, I don't have to. Harry's offers 5-blade closeness and comfort. And refills cost as low as $2 each. Half of what I paid before. Go to harrys.com/TV to claim your $5 trial.
We're back to overtime. We got breaking news on Games Global, which is meant to price its IPO this afternoon. Contessa Brewer has details. Contessa.
And instead, they've yanked their IPO. They will not be IPOing. That was scheduled for tomorrow to begin trading. They had intended to price these shares at $16 to $19 per share at the midpoint, hoping to raise about $250 million, which would mean its market cap was at about $2 billion. Games Global supplies the online casino games that all these other platforms use. So they're making the games that you actually play on DraftKings or FanDuel or BetMGM. Not all of them, but some of the hit games that they supply there. And it's a company that there was a lot of excitement about it going public tomorrow. They were intending to ring the stock exchange bell on Thursday, and instead they say because of current market conditions, the company has determined not to pursue at this time the initial public offering of the ordinary shares. As you can see, some of the other platforms, these sports books and those that offer online gambling in the states where it's legal, they're off just slightly today. They're off anywhere between 10 and 20% off their 52-week highs from March. But the market conditions that they're citing, we did see IPOs last week, of course, John, and those went off without a hitch. So it may just be, in this case, that Games Global wasn't able to get the price that it was intending for its shares. We were supposed to interview the CEO this week as well, and I have not heard from the company about whether that's still happening. Of course, if I get that, then we should get some more insight into why they decided to yank it right now.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, the VIX has been practically asleep. The market's near all-time highs. We didn't have dramatic moves today, so it just sort of makes me wonder, as you mentioned, what market conditions they're referring to. But
the other thing is, this will really be the only pure play on iGaming in terms of publicly traded companies, because the rest have either bricks and mortar casinos or the big business is sports betting, and iGaming is extremely lucrative, and it's the hope of the future as states begin to adopt more legislation around it, that it could be the big profit driver in this space. So there was a lot of excitement about Games Global going public.
all right, we'll see what happens next. I'm sure you can tell us, Contessa Brewer. Thank you. Now, here's one thing that did happen. OpenAI hosting its spring update today as mega-cap tech companies get ready to unveil their own plans to continue capitalizing on the AI revolution, starting with Google tomorrow at its I/O Developer Conference. Meantime, Google ticking a little lower earlier in the session on a report saying Apple might be in talks to integrate OpenAI technology with iOS and the iPhone. Let's bring in Steve Kovac with more. Steve?
Apple shares up 2% or so today as well. But as for OpenAI, like you said, front-running Google's big developers conference that's happening tomorrow with an announcement of its own. So what's happened? It revealed the latest AI model, which is called GPT-4o. That's not a zero, but an O, letter O, which is capable of having natural conversations with you. No more asking a question and then waiting for an answer before you can ask another, like you may with assistants you use today, Siri and Alexa and so forth. Just talk to it like you would your best friend. You can even interrupt it, ask it to speak in a different tone, and a lot more. It also does real-time translation between language. It's also multimodal. That means it can process images, text, or voice. OpenAI says it'll be rolling out over the coming weeks, and the company's CTO teased there's even more to come, a so-called next big thing to be revealed soon. CEO Sam Altman wasn't part of the event, but he did publish a blog post about GPT-4o, calling it, quote, the best computer interface I've ever used. Also of note, Altman called OpenAI a business and will, quote, find plenty of things to charge for. Remember, OpenAI is structured as a nonprofit organization and has been sued by co-founder Elon Musk for allegedly abandoning its original mission and focusing on profit instead. We'll see how that one shakes out. In the meantime, expecting Google tomorrow, which has multiple stumbles trying to launch its Gemini AI system. It's expected to show off similar AI features at its developers conference. It also shared a video on X earlier that appeared to be a demo similar to what we saw from OpenAI today. You're looking at that right now.
Now, okay, a lot to process. Questions about will Apple stick with Google, not just for regular search, which Google pays Apple for placement on the iPhone.
Pays $20 billion.
Yeah, a lot. Or will they go with OpenAI? Now, Sam Altman's talking about being a business. Are they a business that could pay more than Google for placement on the iPhone, or how would
that is the big question if this deal does happen? Bloomberg reported, I believe it's Friday afternoon, that they're close to some kind of terms of the deal. Now, which way does the money go? OpenAI doesn't have hordes of cash like the way Google does in order to do it. So the question becomes, does that mean Apple is paying OpenAI to license the technology? And also, what cloud are they using? Does this mean Microsoft gets to see a benefit because, as we know, OpenAI processes everything on Azure? That is a huge question, because this could be a quiet way for Microsoft to finally get in on the iPhone the way it's been begging to do for so many years with Bing, in the same way that Google is doing with search.
I can't imagine Apple paying for it. I can't imagine Apple doing a Super Bowl type thing where you do it for free, and then that gooses Google or Microsoft or somebody to pay more down the line to put on top of
that. Could be, and remember, they're reportedly talking to Google as well to bring in Gemini as part of the iPhone 2. It's going to be really interesting on June 10th to see how all of this comes together at the end of developers conference season and kicks off. We're calling it the Summer of AI. It's kicking off right now.
It's a different twist on developer conference. Normally, they're not necessarily as excited.
This is going to be a big one.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, for more, let's bring in Tony Wong from T. Rowe Price. He is the portfolio manager of the Science and Technology Fund. Top holdings include Apple and Alphabet. Tony, is Apple potentially a bit of a kingmaker here or no?
Yeah, I think that Apple is really uniquely positioned here. I mean, if you think about it, they essentially have a really loyal, captive user base of 1 billion of the wealthiest consumers on the planet. So, and they haven't really done that much with Gen AI. And in terms of what they can do is really look across the large language models like that you guys were talking about earlier and choose which ones have the best use cases for their various features. And so I think they've got a big opportunity. The iPhone has kind of had more muted cycles in the last couple of years. So I think that the AI iPhone coming up could trigger a big refresh cycle. And, I like the stock here and the company as well. So.
Yeah, I have no idea whether an OpenAI ChatGPT-4o placement on iPhone and iOS happens or not. But if it were going to happen, it seems to me like an OpenAI announcement like this ahead of it would make sense, right? First, announce that the product's out there, and then you would announce that it's a part of Apple's operating system. It seemed like Google rebounded a bit, the stock did, that they didn't announce a deal with Apple, but a deal with Apple wouldn't be announced outside of an Apple event, right?
Yeah, I don't think anything is finalized until June, but if I'm Apple, I think it's smart for them to not do exclusive deals at this point. We're still really early in generative AI, and I think that they're still testing which ones have the best use and the best performance for their various use cases. And if you think about it from kind of a negotiation standpoint, it's smart to have multiple vendors. So I'm not surprised that they're talking to everybody, and there could be a few others in the mix as well.
One of the most proven AI productivity use cases at this point is for developers developing code, and people use OpenAI for that as well. A big piece of what Apple talks about at its
developer conference, WWDC, is developer tools for developing on mature platforms like iOS and iPhone, as well as things like Vision Pro. How much do you expect AI, and perhaps even OpenAI, to play into that?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big part. And if you think about Apple's strength, it's really its ecosystem across all its different hardware products as well as the software. So I think integrating that and making it really elegant in your life is what Apple's really good at. They're really a design-first company, and they're really great at integrating technology. So it's not too invasive, but very, very useful in our life. And so I think we're at that tipping point where consumers are expecting that, they want that, and I think Apple's in a really unique situation to deliver that capability.
And everybody should check out that demo from OpenAI on the voice interaction with 4O. It's very much like the movie Her. Tony Wong from T. Rowe Price. Thank you. Now, sticking with tech, Intel finishing at the top of the Dow today on a report from the Wall Street Journal that it's nearing a deal with Apollo to finance a plant in Ireland. Apollo would put up more than $11 billion, though details are unclear outside of that per the journal. This would be one of several recent public and private partnerships aimed at boosting Intel's chip production, including for helping build its capital-intensive factories. The U.S. awarded $8.5 billion under the CHIPS Act to Intel, and then some loans on top of that. And in 2022, Brookfield Asset Management and Intel entered into a $30 billion partnership around the construction of the Chandler, Arizona chip factory. Well, Home Depot kicks off big box retail earnings tomorrow before the bell, with inflation concerns still top of mind for American consumers, as evidenced by today's New York Fed survey. Up next, the man who runs Neuberger Berman's Connected Consumer Portfolio gives us his read on spending and the companies you should be watching. And a Square deal. Website hosting firm Squarespace jumping today on news the company is going to be taken private in a multi-billion-dollar buyout. We're going to look at the competitors that could be future takeout targets. Overtime return.
Out here, we get it. It's more than their favorite store. It's where they could do a little shopping, find new faves, meet new friends, and show off for old ones. We love helping you do what you love.
Ooh, fun. Yikes. The leaky refrigerator coil card. Is that bad? Oh, death! Death? Of an AC fan motor. Oh no. But your future is bright with an American Home Shield warranty to protect your covered appliances and home systems. Are there bees behind me?
My bees escaped.
Phil, we talked about this. American Home Shield. Don't worry, bee warranty.
Time elevated to an art. Lotto's singular dot at high noon has become an icon of modern design. A dial featured in museums around the world. The Museum Classic by Lovato, Swiss made since 1881.
Small business fast. I got this.
There's a better way to get a fast small business loan. Go to OnDeck.com, and if approved, get your funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck.
In today's volatile markets, you must learn to trade options. Hi, I'm John Najarian, and this is my brother Pete. Our new book, It's Not an Option, can teach you to become a successful options trader. And we'll send you a copy for free. Look at the return on options. Most stocks can't even compare. Relying on just buying and holding stocks in this market? It's not an option.
To claim your free copy, go to itsnotanoption.com now. That's itsnotanoption.com.
Wednesday, May 22nd. Join CNBC's Financial Advisor Summit. Economic experts focusing on market growth and risk. Register now at cnbcevents.com/FA.
My early ambition was to cover the news. I looked up the definition of ambition in the dictionary, and it said a strong desire to achieve something which requires determination and hard work. And I certainly think that describes anyone who watches CNBC. We're all about tackling this incredibly difficult thing, which is understanding markets, understanding the economy. The ambition is sort of the fuel that feeds that. Working at CNBC is a blast. Business is an amazing way to view the world.
Welcome back to Overtime. Squarespace popping after announcing it's going private in a nearly $7 billion all-cash deal with private equity firm Permira. Permira is paying $44 a share. That's about a 30% premium, but below Squarespace's original $50 reference price when it went public in a direct listing in 2021. Now, this follows a trend we've been tracking here on Overtime: smallish enterprise tech companies being bought out by private equity or by larger firms. That includes Thoma Bravo acquiring Darktrace just a few weeks ago, and a little more than a year ago, Coupa Software, Qualtrics, and CVent. And don't forget, IBM announcing its intent to buy HashiCorp late last month for more than $6 billion. So, what does this all mean? Well, take a look at Squarespace's two main competitors, GoDaddy and Wix. Wix moving higher today, as a lot of smaller cap tech did. GoDaddy, not so much, although at about $19 billion market cap, it's a much larger company, maybe less of an M&A target. JMP's Andrew Boone writing that this is a unique Squarespace story, doesn't extend to other website builders. Plus, we're seeing a lot of small, growthy companies outperform on this session. After all, yeah, as we mentioned earlier in the show, GameStop is up like 80% today. Speaking of Squarespaces, big box retailers Walmart and Home Depot are gearing up to report results this week as a mixed picture emerges about the American shopper. According to the latest New York Fed survey, consumers increased their inflation expectations last month to 3.3% on a one-year basis. So will those fears be evident in this week's big earnings reports? Let's bring in Neuberger Berman's John San Marco, who runs the Connected Consumer portfolio. John, welcome. These two companies, very different. Home Depot has got the whole commercial and construction arm of this, which reflects perhaps different things. What are you looking for in these reports?
Great, thanks, John. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, very different setups. At Home Depot, they're actually coming out of probably a 2+ year period of home improvement recession, if you will. I mean, consumers spent all they could on their homes back when COVID first started, and then they've had to digest some of that. Demand expectations are quite low. They serve a very high-end consumer who's generally more resilient and sitting on a mountain of home equity. And so we see things getting better there, not necessarily in the first quarter, because the first quarter may or may not have some hurt from weather and rates and consumer confidence, but we think we're nearing the bottom of that cycle. And we own a little bit of that in the active ETF that we manage. And then Walmart on the other hand, I mean, they've been doing everything right. They've been in the right place at the right time. They're hitting on a number of new growth vectors like an advertising business and a third-party marketplace business. Expectations are a little bit higher there, so we'll see how tomorrow goes. But just taking a step backwards, this is a business that has some new, promising, exciting opportunities, and the data we look at all suggest they're doing well on those fronts.
In a way, inflation has benefited Walmart where it's hurt Home Depot, right? Because Home Depot, had items priced higher, that helped their revenue. And then on the consumer side, when consumers have been hurt by higher priced items, you saw more of the middle class that might not have shopped as much as Walmart heading into those stores. So how do you expect the inflation setup to affect Walmart in particular?
I think that's well put. Not only does inflation drive some trade down into the Walmart store from perhaps less competitively priced retailers. They're also selling a product that has pretty inelastic demand. So they take the pricing up, and by and large, the consumer is going to continue to buy the same amount of toilet paper and batteries and cereal and so forth. So it's been a good guy that's becoming less of a good guy, and at this point, I think that's all pretty much rear view mirror, and I think inflation is sort of a non-factor looking forward for Walmart. That inflation's coming quite a bit. At Home Depot, to your question, I think the bigger issue is as inflation stays too hot, when it got too hot, interest rates spike, of course, and that has all sorts of suppressive pressure across the home improvement complex.
speaking more on that, one thing that a lot of people tend to do to pay for home improvement projects is tap into their home equity, and that gets a lot more expensive with interest rates stubbornly high, right?
Exactly. It makes it a little harder to move, so it slows down housing turnover, and that's a headwind for the business. Now, it has been a headwind, and we're at multi-decade lows, so I think incrementally we're likely in a better situation a year from now. And to your point, it also makes tapping into home equity, no matter how much home equity it is, it makes it more costly and a little less appealing at the margin. But again, incrementally, I don't believe that home equity lines have been some huge tailwind for Home Depot that now they have to pay anniversary. Rather, expectations already sort of reflect this higher rate environment.
All right. Well, you got us ready. Appreciate it, John Marco, when you go to Time now for a CNBC News update with Contessa Brewer. Contessa.
John, former fixer Michael Cohen will be back on the stand tomorrow at the Trump hush money trial. But earlier this afternoon, Cohen walked the jury through the Stormy Daniels payment. Prosecutors are now asking him specific questions regarding the false business records, including conversations with former Trump CFO Alan Weisselberg about being reimbursed for his payment to Daniels. U.S. military assistance is already on Ukraine's battlefield from a multi-billion-dollar aid package Congress passed last month. That's according to National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan today. Sullivan announced the U.S. will have another package in the coming days to help accelerate the pace of weapons deliveries. And George Clooney will make his Broadway debut in Good Night and Good Luck. It's a stage adaptation of his 2005 film about journalist Edward R. Murrow, in which he also starred and directed. Clooney is co-writing this for stage and will star as Murrow this time around, though David Strahan had that role in the movie. The play will premiere next spring. Murrow, set the stage for journalists everywhere. Set the bar rather high for the rest of us, John.
Yeah, we're not all as good looking as George Clooney, though you are.
And so are you, John.
All right. Up next, Mike Santoli with one big takeaway from earnings season so far. He will reveal it next. And as we head to break, take a look at Walgreens Boots Alliance near the top of the S&P 500 today after a report said the company was looking for potential buyers for its UK pharmacy chain, Boots. We'll be right back.
At Morgan Stanley, old school hard work meets bold new thinking. At 88 years old, we still see the world with the wonder of new eyes, helping you discover untapped possibilities and relentlessly working with you to make them real. Old school grit, new world ideas. Morgan Stanley.
When everything hurts, you need relief that's deeper than ice. Tidal, the cryotherapy spray that goes beyond cooling to take control of the pain. Now the best-selling pain relief spray has gotten even better with an easy press activator to get the perfect coverage and dose with no rubbing needed.
It smells really good. It relieves the pain quickly so I can continue doing what I love.
It's compact, it travels easy, I can take it everywhere.
Get the all-new cryotherapy spray and the full line of Tidal products online or at your favorite retailer.
This is my new predictive AI model for running my business. Will I have enough cash flow to run my business this month? Will I have enough money in my account? Wait, who can help me solve my bookkeeping and funding needs? Zendu. Zendu.com.
Last call on CNBC.
We're at the intersection of business
This is not about the super wealthy. This is about the middle class.
and money. The people get an opportunity to decide their future.
Last call next. CNBC.
Take care of my finances? I got plenty of time for that.
I didn't have plenty of time.
Now is the time to take action. Go to Facet.com to get started on your financial wellness journey today.
Why is Navage perfect for allergies?
People who have allergies will have lots of problems. If someone's exposed to allergens, they can get rid of those immediately by washing out the nose. Navage works by pulling saline in one nostril, through the nose and out the other nostril, sucking out allergens, mucus, dust, and germs. Experience on-the-spot relief so you can breathe easier, sleep better, feel healthier. If you have seasonal allergies, Navage can help.
Navage, now available at select Sam's Clubs.
I'm tired of overpaying for a close shave. Harry's, I don't have to. Harry's offers 5-blade closeness and comfort. And refills cost as low as $2 each. Half of what I paid before. Go to harrys.com/TV to claim your $5 trial.
Welcome back to Overtime. Mike Santoli is back with a look at profit margins as earnings season starts to wind down. Mike?
Yeah, John, they've back on the upswing in terms of profitability. This is S&P 500 company operating margin, so it's not the absolute. Now, it includes also projected consensus profitability going out into next year, but we have actually held up pretty well. So what this suggests, a few things. One, the mix within S&P 500 earnings now skewed a little more toward large cap growth companies, which inherently have higher margins. You also do have, I think, some cost cutting that did take hold across corporate America as they were dealing with wholesale inflation, as they were maybe anticipating a recession. That has helped out profit margins because pricing is largely held up, and of course the economy has remained strong. So maybe there's room here for some easing back of pricing on the consumer level. There's a buffer here with profitability, but also it explains perhaps why S&P 500 still manages to be within less than 1% of its all-time highs, even though we're wondering which way bond yields and Fed policy are going.
In a way, is that continuing spike at the end of the chart you've got also showing it's not just consumers who expect prices to remain high going forward?
In this sense, it's probably analysts who just expect that. So maybe there's some inherent optimism there in terms of analysts projecting into the next couple of quarters that we're going to continue to go higher. But, it's worth keeping in mind, and we were there, in 21 and 22. But yes, I do think you have a lot of confidence being expressed among companies that they're going to be able to hold on to most of the pricing that they've managed to push through in the last couple of years.
Okay, but that means there's also, in the face of competition, the opportunity, perhaps, for some of those profits to be sacrificed in the market share.
Unless, we repeal the laws of capitalism, some of this should be competed away. I do think that's, if anything, the macroeconomic kind of optimistic way of looking at it. That we kind of made it through this period. People maybe have, built up their cushion ahead of any kind of weakness, and they can respond to it if it's seen coming.
Well, whatever we do, let's not repeal the laws of capitalism.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, these days. A key recession indicator that's been correct since I left for college might finally be inaccurate. Up next, why this time around is different and why it's good news for bank stocks. And check out shares of drug maker Incyte, the big winner in the S&P 500 today, after announcing it's going to buy back roughly $2 billion in stock, most of which will come from a modified Dutch auction. Be right back.
Do you see yourself enjoying a comfortable retirement like these folks? Well, as I remind our clients, you get what you plan for. You may have a retirement plan in place, but are you sure it's the right one for you? Creating a plan with Fisher Investments gives you the confidence your money can last through retirement. We'll shape your plan to meet your unique goals, needs, and lifestyles so you can enjoy the retirement you dream of.
Get a fresh perspective. Have a Fisher professional review your retirement plan at no cost. If your investment portfolio is $500,000 or more, call 1-800-350-4411.
If you're thinking of retiring or you're retired and want to enjoy it more, Fisher has answers, and our fees are structured so we do better when you do better.
Get a free Fisher retirement checkup. Call 1-800-350-4411.
Get a retirement plan that's as individual as you are. If your portfolio is $500,000 or more, call us today.
You need new replacement windows, but you're just not sure if they're in the budget this year, right? I'm Brian Gary here with Ted Coons from Renew by Anderson, and he's here to talk about how to make window replacement more affordable.
Well, first, Brian, you don't have to do them all. You could just replace your worst windows first. Or another way to make them affordable is to change the style of window. For example, you could do a sliding window instead of a casement. We have a lot of ways to make window projects really affordable.
Compared to other window companies, you have a completely different business model.
Yeah, with other companies, there's just too many people involved in the process. There's the manufacturer, the seller, and then the installer, and then the customer. And if you call with a problem, that's when they say, oh, well, we're the manufacturer. You have to call the installer for that problem. Or vice versa. We're the full-service replacement window division of Andersen. With us, there's no passing the buck. At Renewal by Andersen, we sell, build, install, and warrant our windows and patio doors. So if there's ever an issue, we take full responsibility for it.
Why don't you sell vinyl windows?
It doesn't matter if it's a $200 window or a $1,200 window. A lot of vinyl windows just don't last. For energy efficiency and beauty, there's a much better option. Our Windows Fibrex composite material is available in 9 designer colors, and it's much more durable than vinyl. Well, Fibrex is low maintenance like vinyl, but stronger than vinyl. And it's beautiful like wood, but doesn't require the upkeep of wood.
Before May 31st, buy one window, patio door, or entry door, and get the next one 40% off. That's 40% off with a minimum purchase of 4, plus save an extra $200 on your entire purchase. With no money down, no monthly payments, and no interest for 1 year. This offer ends May 31st. For a free appointment with Renewal by Andersen, call 1-800-918-0808.
Welcome back to Overtime. For the past 30 years, a recession just about always comes after bank lending standards tighten, and that tightening began 2 years ago. But Leslie Picker looks at why we might not get a recession this time around. Leslie.
Hey, John. Yeah, the usual playbook, one that you may have read about in Econ 101 while you were in college, I heard you say that in the D's, is that the Fed raises rates, banks pull back on lending, demand for lending plummets, and then a recession follows. But so far, that hasn't been the case in this recent tightening cycle. Jefferies constructed an index that measures the percentage of banks tightening credit standards based on data from the Fed's Senior Loans Officer Opinion Survey, or SLOOS. Now, the research shows that over the last 3 decades, every recession has coincided with that index rising above 30. You can see on that chart, the scale is inverted here, but that correlation took place during the pandemic and in the financial crisis and the dot-com bust. But even though the SLOOS-based index surpassed 30 at the end of 2022, GDP has been relatively stable. So why is this time different? Well, Jefferies notes this will actually be the subject of a, quote, host of future doctoral dissertations because it's not exactly clear. One theory, though, from the report is that the 2020 era of QE flooded with banks with reserves, which have blunted the impact of higher rates so far. The explosion of private credit may also be muting the impact of higher rates because it's serving as another source of funding as traditional banks tighten their own standards. A version of soft landing and the recent resumption of loan demand are helping fuel a huge river quote in inspired banks, up 46% over the last year compared with declines of nearly 30% over the prior year, perhaps an indication that kind of beginning in this tightening cycle, many investors were expecting kind of that playbook that we laid out, but now that that hasn't proven out to be the case, bank stocks are feeling a little more comfortable with moving higher.
Interesting. So what is it that normally happens after banks tighten their lending standards that perhaps
3:45 p.m.
Right?
It's 3:45 p.m.
Sequence
in Racine, Wisconsin.
Is there
In Wisconsin.
some potential next step that we're not anticipating now?
Well, usually it's kind of a supply and demand dynamic. Ultimately, they tighten their lending standards as such that it throws the economy into a recession, and then the Fed is forced to cut rates to get the economy out of a recession, and therefore banks are able to loosen up their lending standards, and the demand kind of comes back into the picture because loans are cheaper with lower rates, and so the whole cycle kind of starts back over again. So it's unclear what's going to happen this time around. We have seen fewer banks
Went to 4 different rooms.
report that they are pulling back on their lending standards. They take kind of that
4 different rooms before. So it's saying like, this is not the same situation, but I'm just saying. You're saying 3 now. Okay. But I'm trying to let you know that it's no justification for me to say previously or what it is, but it's not really for me to say. Before I had to go through 4 rooms. So I had to find a word in an instant to express me coming here and having to go through multiple rooms and then being told that if the room is not clean, then I would have to accept an unclean room or leave after I've already paid for the room. Once keys are given, it says no refunds are allowed. So it's okay. 3 times. We're going to see. I'm going to see what this situation is about. I know who I am. I know exactly who I am. Who I am. All kinds of things. All kinds of stuff. people have plans to just have all the stuff, but they're not having me. I want me in every situation that I have. I want me. I'm not giving anybody permission to stress me. Well. Oh, okay. So these are like the ones that are actually packaged and individual like that. It's difficult because if I go places, wherever, it's like I don't want to give permission to people to stalk me or monitor me or do things that I don't want them to do, and they're not telling me what they're doing and what they're choosing for my life, and I have to pay the cost. No, I pay the cost to be the boss, and that means I'm the boss of me. And I'm not allowing anybody to count my costs. There's not a lot of peanut butter in these Reese's. Peanut butter cups. Milk chocolate and peanut butter. Peanut butter, all peanuts. It don't say peanut butter, but peanuts. So it's peanut butter. But the peanut is down the list. Yeah. Oh, I'm busy. I'm trying to figure these things too. So I understand that my skin is scared. So if I have something, in particular,